this is Mr. Ward, and this is the Algebra Do Now 24.1 video key. So here we go. So you've got a test that has 20 questions, and they are worth 100 points total. The test consists of true-false questions worth 3 points each, and multiple-choice questions worth 11 points each. What are the unknowns here? Well, and how could we represent them? Well, what's unknown is simply how many true-false questions there are, and how many multiple-choice questions there are. And we could just call this how many true-false. We could call that X, because that's a variable for unknown. We don't know how many it is. We could call the number of multiple-choice questions Y, and that'll work. So if you came up with that as the unknowns, you got it. Now let's see if we can come up with a couple of equations here. All right, so there's one equation that's hidden right here in this sentence, and many people are going to overlook this one because it's so obvious. So there are two types of questions, and there's a total of them that are 20. So you have X, true-false questions, and Y, multiple-choice questions, and together that's 20 questions. In your other equation, okay, since overall the test equals 100 points, and we could think of this as the points question, or the points equation. 100 points, well, there's 3 points times X true-false questions, and 11 points times Y multiple-choice questions. And that will get you the number of points overall. So this is just the total questions equation, and this is the total points equation. This one is the more classic standard form one because you got two rates. You've got 3 points per true false and 11 points per multiple choice. This one is also a standard form equation. It's just a really simple one where the rate is, there's one true false question per true false question and one multiple choice question per multiple choice question. We just don't write those ones. So really, it's just a simple total. X plus Y equals 20, and 3X plus 11Y equals 100. Okay, and hopefully that is making sense how we came up with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Desmos. And I'd like you to open up Desmos, and you want to graph the two lines and then zoom out until you find the intersection. And what does that intersection point represent? So let's open that up. We've got X plus Y equals 20, and that's not on the screen, so we're going to have to zoom out. And we got 3X plus 11Y equals 100, and we'll have to zoom out again. Now remember, X represents true-false questions, and Y represents multiple-choice questions. How many there are? And I zoom out just a little bit, and I get my two lines. This one is the number of points equation, and this one is the total number of questions equation. And there's an intersection point. The intersection point is going to be the solution for this system of equations, and it's 15, 5. So we get a point where X is 15 and Y is 5. I'm going to go ahead and label that. I click that little label box, and I'm going to say 15 true, false, and 5 multiple choice. And that is what that represents. There are 15 true false questions and 5 multiple choice questions. So we can test that out with the first equation. That's, of course, 15 plus 5 does get us 20. And then here we've got 3 times 15 plus 11 times 5 does indeed get us 100. So 15, 5 is a solution for each equation. And when we think of these two equations together as a system, then 15, 5 as a point becomes the solution for that overall system of equations. Taken separately, we could have 0 and 20, 1 and 19, 2 and 18, etc. There are a whole lot of combinations of these number of questions we could take. But once we put the two equations together, we can actually pin down how many of them are true, false, and how many of them are multiple choice. Okay, so let's go back into the do now. Let's put that in here. So the intersection at 15, 5 represents the fact that there would be 15 true, false, false questions, and 5 multiple choice questions on this 20 question test. That's what it represents. Okay, now think about this equation, x plus y equals 20. We could rearrange it. So I could take the x plus y and I could subtract y from both sides, and I'd end up with x equals 20 minus y. And I could also subtract x from both sides and I get y equals 20 minus x. So let's see what happens if we replace the x in this equation with this expression for x. So see, x is going to equal 20 minus y. That's just a rearrangement of the other equation. If we replaced x with 20 minus y and solve for y, what would y equal? And here's what I mean by that. We're going to say 3 times 20 minus y plus 11y equals 100. So we're just going to use our variable tools to solve for that. First, I'll distribute the 3 here. So I'm going to 3 times 20 is 60. And that's going to be minus 3y plus 11y equals 100. And then I'll combine like terms. I get 60 plus 8y equals 100. And then I'll subtract 60 from both sides. 60 on both sides. And I'll end up with 8y equals 40. And I'll divide both sides by 8. 8, and y equals 5. Well, y was 5 in the point where we had the intersection. So this is saying y equals 5 multiple choice questions. Now I'm going to go to the next question where you might have predicted we're going to replace y with 20 minus x because x plus y equals 20 can be rearranged into y equals 20 minus x. So we're going to replace it here. So let's do that. So we're going to replace this y with 20 minus x. So it's going to be 3x plus 11 times 20 minus x equals 100. Okay, and this is the points on the test question, or equation, I should say. So let's start simplifying. 3x plus, okay, 11 times 20 is going to be 220. And then that's going to be minus 11x. And that will equal 100. All right, let's combine like terms. I'm going to have the 220 will stay there. I'll add 3x to negative 11x, and I get negative 8x. And that equals 100. Now I'll subtract 220 from both sides. Okay, and when I do that, I get negative 8x equals negative 120. Now I'll divide both sides by negative 8. I could just get rid of the negative on both sides, but I'm just going to illustrate that that's what I'm actually doing. I'm dividing both sides by negative 8. And on the left, I'll just be left with x. And on the right, negative 120 divided by negative 8 is going to be positive 15. And that is positive 15 true, false questions on the test. And that is the x part of the solution for this overall system. I hope that was helpful.